A man is behind bars accused of fatally shooting his mother. At around 8:30 a.m. on Sunday the 17th of August 2025, authorities responded to the Virginia Square Towers building on Fairfax Drive in Arlington, Virginia, after a 911 caller claimed his mother shot herself in a bedroom in his apartment. When officers arrived, they found the woman still breathing but with a gunshot wound to the head. The woman, 57-year-old Travis Renee Baldwin, was pronounced dead at the hospital. The suspect, the victim's son, 27-year-old Logan Christinger, remained on scene when police arrived and was taken into custody. He is charged with first-degree murder and remains held without bond at the Arlington County Jail. The motive of the shooting remains unclear as the investigation into the matter continues. A man is behind bars accused of attacking his grandmother with a hatchet and a knife, leaving her with life-threatening injuries. At around 6:40 p.m. on Sunday, the 17th of August 2025, deputies from the Penobscot County Sheriff's Office were called to a residence along Puss Shore Road in Glenburn, Maine on reports of an assault. Investigators said that 19-year-old Ethan Herbert struck his 59-year-old grandmother with a hatchet after she tried to break up a fight between him and his grandfather. The grandmother was rushed to a hospital, where doctors were forced to remove part of her skull due to the severity of her injuries. Ethan fled the scene before deputies arrived, but was apprehended a short time later. Ethan told investigators that demons and the Grim Reaper ordered him to attack, urging him to just do it, kill her, put her out of her misery, he said. The grandmother told police that during the assault, Ethan said, "I'm sorry, Grammy, but I have to," before swinging the hatchet violently at her head and arms. She also reported that he hurled a knife at her as she tried to escape. Deputies confirmed Ethan had been banned from the grandparents' home prior to the incident. Ethan is charged with attempted murder, domestic violence elevated aggravated assault, and domestic violence aggravated assault. He remains held at the Penobscot County Jail on a $45,000 bond. A woman is behind bars after she was found living with the decomposing body of her infant daughter amid a mental breakdown. At 1:01 a.m. on Wednesday, the 13th of August 2025, police discovered the remains of a 10-month-old girl, identified as Rain Taylor, in a locked bedroom of an apartment at 958 North 27th Street in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The child's mother, 28-year-old Cheyenne Brothers, was arrested and charged with hiding a child's corpse. Police responded to the apartment after reports of a foul odour. Cheyenne initially attributed the smell to sport food. She later began talking about how a man she was in a domestic violence relationship with had killed her child and said he had me hiding her in there, pointing to a locked bedroom door. Inside, authorities found Rain's body in a large cardboard box, surrounded by hundreds of flies and maggots. The medical examiner noted evidence of blunt force trauma to the infant's head, though the cause of death remains under investigation. A neighbour whose name remains anonymous said she never saw Cheyenne with the baby and noticed her frequently outside the apartment in recent weeks, complaining about a stench that prevented her from entering her home or using the restroom. During police questioning, Cheyenne exhibited erratic behaviour, including barking noises and incoherent statements. She claimed she was raped and forced to hurt my child and hide the body, alleging unknown individuals had been entering her apartment. Detectives noted she seemed to be addressing someone else during the interview. Cheyenne's statements reportedly grew increasingly erratic, including claims of having no control over her daughter's death and that she was told she wasn't in trouble. Milwaukee police have stated they are not seeking any additional suspects at this time. Cheyenne is currently held at the Milwaukee County Jail on a $50,000 bond. She is required to undertake a mental competency examination, and further charges are possible. The investigation continues as authorities await further details on the cause of Rain's death. A man is accused of punching a woman and throwing rocks that injured a child. The incident occurred at 11:51 p.m. on Saturday the 2nd of August 2025 at a residence in the 700 block of Oak Street in Denver, Pennsylvania. Police said that 44-year-old Stephen Irvin returned to his home and was unable to open the door. Through an open window, Stephen punched a woman in the face, causing injuries to her mouth. Stephen then threw rocks, approximately 4 by 8 inches, at a window, breaking the glass. A child in the home was hit in the face and the knee by the rocks. Investigators said that the child suffered a broken nose. Police said that the incident caused an unreasonable amount of noise late in the night, disrupting the neighbourhood. Stephen was arrested and charged with simple assault, harassment, and disorderly conduct. He was booked into the Lancaster County Jail with bail set at $5,000. A man is behind bars after he allegedly sexually assaulted a woman he claims he found unconscious in a car. At around 2 a.m. on Sunday the 17th of August 2025, authorities responded to Market Street in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and reports of a person who was bleeding and injured. Upon arrival, officers discovered an unconscious naked woman inside a vehicle, with her possessions scattered on the ground. After the woman regained consciousness, she provided a description of her alleged assailant, leading police to identify and locate Zachary Sharp. Zachary claimed he was walking through the parking lot after being kicked out of a westbound bar when he noticed the woman in the vehicle. He alleged he attempted to wake her up, but she scratched him and threw objects, prompting him to push her against the vehicle window twice to free himself. However, authorities found evidence suggesting the woman had been drugged. She reported to police that her last memory was having drinks at Shady's Corner. The victim sustained a broken left pinky, a possible broken wrist, a black eye and a minor laceration. Zachary was arrested and charged with sexual battery and aggravated assault. He is currently detained at the Hamilton County Jail. A man will spend almost 2 decades behind bars after pleading guilty to stabbing his wife to death in the parking lot of a store in North Phoenix, Arizona. On the 18th of August 2025, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office announced that 36-year-old Stephen James Dennis was sentenced to 18 years in prison in connection with the stabbing death of 37-year-old Alicia Grant. He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder earlier this year. At just after midnight on the 9th of September 2024, police responded to a Home Depot at Cave Creek and Cactus Roads after witnesses reported hearing a woman screaming for help. When officers arrived, they found Alicia in the driver's seat of a Toyota Prius, suffering from multiple stab wounds. As an officer began applying pressure to her wounds, Alicia identified her husband Stephen as her attacker with her dying words. She was taken to a hospital and pronounced dead. Witnesses told police they saw a man get out of the passenger side of the car and run from the scene before police arrived. Bystanders then tried to render aid to the woman while waiting for help. Officers were unable to find the suspect. A short time later, Stephen called 911 and admitted to stabbing his wife. He also told them where investigators could find the murder weapon. He told detectives that he and Alicia were recently married and were discussing an annulment before the stabbing occurred. Maricopa County Attorney Rachel Mitchell said, "This wasn't just a violent crime, it was an act of betrayal carried out by someone who should have been a source of safety, not fear. There's something especially cruel about a murder that takes place within a relationship that's intended to be built on trust. We will continue to aggressively pursue and hold violent domestic abusers accountable," she said. A man is behind bars after allegedly attempting to abduct a woman inside a restroom and cutting her hand. At around 6:30 a.m. on Saturday the 16th of August 2025, authorities responded to a Wawa convenience store at 4527 Plank Road in Fredericksburg, Virginia, following reports of a stabbing. When officers arrived, they learned that the suspect, Austin Wilson, had already fled the scene. A woman was treated at the scene for a knife wound and later transported to a hospital for further care. Investigators said that surveillance footage showed Austin, who's in his 20s, wearing a black hat, black shirt and black shorts, arriving as a passenger in a vehicle. He allegedly entered the woman's restroom, hid in a stall, and then climbed into the victim's stall while brandishing a knife. Austin reportedly threatened the woman and attempted to restrain her, but fled when she screamed for help. Authorities later released images of Austin, and community members quickly identified him. He was arrested that same day and charged with abduction, malicious wounding, obstruction of justice, assault and battery, and obscene sexual display. He remains held at the Rappahannock Regional Jail without bond. A 38-year-old woman is accused of exploiting an elderly woman by posing as a caretaker. On the 6th of August 2025, Police in Rutland, Massachusetts arrested Maria Martin and charged her with larceny from a building, vandalizing property, and permitting abuse of an elderly person. Investigators said that Maria fraudulently moved into the victim's home under the guise of being her caretaker. After the elderly resident left for an extended stay at a medical facility, Maria and her boyfriend allegedly changed the locks and began squatting in the home. When the victim returned, she discovered her home in squalor, littered with drug paraphernalia, with several possessions missing and parts of the property destroyed. Investigators also found evidence suggesting Maria had been operating an illicit erotic massage service out of the residence. Maria has been held at the Western Massachusetts Regional Women's Correctional Center on a $5,000 bond. A bar fight in Charlotte, North Carolina, escalated into a violent machete attack, leaving one man seriously injured and the suspect 39-year-old Matthew King in custody. The incident occurred at around 2 a.m. on Saturday the 9th of August 2025 along South Brevard Street, near East Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Charlotte-Mecklenburg police responded to an assault with a deadly weapon call and found a man with a severe laceration to his left hand. Nearby, officers located Matthew, covered in blood with a machete and brass knuckles beside him. According to reports, Matthew was ejected from a bar following a verbal argument that turned physical. About 30 minutes later, he returned armed with brass knuckles and an 18-inch machete. Approaching the victim from behind, Matthew allegedly said, "Remember me?" before attempting to strike him with the brass knuckles and then swinging the machete at his head. The victim raised his left hand to block the attack, sustaining a severe cut that required surgery. Witnesses intervened, disarming Matthew and restraining him until police arrived. During the struggle, one witness suffered a minor cut to his thigh. Matthew, who sustained minor injuries, was treated at a hospital before taken to the Mecklenburg County Jail. Matthew's charged with attempted first-degree murder and assault with a deadly weapon. He remains held in custody with bond denied.